Arrived Suez per Mongolia Tuesday the 14th of December 1915. Came by train, arriving 6 a.m. Wednesday. Spent the day looking over Heliopolis. 16th December 1915. Took train to Cairo. Met a young Egyptian scholar who showed us through the Egyptian Bazaar and also the Sultan Kaloon Mosque, which is 750 years old and of great interest. Most beautiful carvings and inlaid work and decorations. Arabs are attacking in the vicinity of the Suez Canal and we're expecting a general upheaval any minute. Visited the pyramids. Went halfway up inside viewing the King's and Queen's chambers. The pyramid is composed of granite, limestone and alabaster. After, I took a camel and rode to the train. Arrived in Cairo and met Maury and Bill, and we hired donkeys for half an hour and rode through the dirtiest and filthiest streets of Cairo, known as the Wazir. The original 10th Light horses just arrived in camp from Gallipoli, or rather, what is left of them. They look pretty weary on it. Visited Catholic school in Cairo. It had previously been a harem. The ceiling decorations are very beautiful. On leaving, the headmistress presented each of us with a little medal, claiming that we would not get killed so long as we kept that with us. 13th reinforcements arrived this evening. I've been on painting and sign writing for about 3 weeks and I'm heartily sick of it. On average, do about 1.5 hours work a day. Disappointed today, as all the boys have gone on a ride for a couple of days. After being saddled up with full equipment, at the last minute the Colonel sent down to have some more signs written. Had a swim in the Suez Canal tonight, going from Africa to Asia. The canal is about 100 yards across. A large steamer passed through while we were swimming with a crowd of Scottish troops on board. Destination unknown. At present, our troop is camped in the enemy's country, about 20 miles from the canal. We are going another 20 miles in search of an aeroplane which did not return after reconnoitring yesterday. It is quite likely we'll come in touch with the Turks. Nothing but sand and a few dry shrubs. Swimming parade today. It's a great sport swimming on horses in the Suez Canal. Bill and I were on camel escort today. We had 70 camels carting water and stores to Road Head. It's a rather fascinating sight to see 70 camels wending their way silently like a serpent across the desert. Bill and I are in Cairo for a couple of days on leave. Arrived at 1 a.m. this morning and drove to the Anzac Hostel. We are in the reading and smoking room at present after having a good dinner. It is just the thing to have the shackles of militarism off one's feet for a few days. We're having a good time together. I'm actually in on duty to buy paint to do some decorating in the officers' mess. I'm getting all my expenses paid. We are out here at the well and have just about pumped it dry, preparatory to destroying it. Only one Bedouin have we seen, and he is now our prisoner. We have a very decent force out here. Our bit alone comprises over 1,000 men. It was rather peculiar after travelling so many miles over a desert to strike this beautiful well. It is surrounded by steep sandhills which are covered with shrubs. Nearby are 2 or 3 big fig trees which seem out of place in such a spot. At present, I'm seated on the side of one of the hills, gazing at the interesting sights before me. Away up on the highest points are our pickets and signallers. Above them, soaring and circling, is one of our aeroplanes. I wonder if the Turkish army is within Kui. Monday, July the 17th, 1916. Mother's birthday yesterday. Went to church at YMCA and was wishing they would sing Shadows, my mother's favourite. Came home and found 12 letters and a bundle of papers awaiting me. We are just waiting to get right into it for the first time. Machine guns are rattling just 100 yards away. One poor chap is laying up on the ridge, killed. Our position is bad. 35 miles east of Port Said. The artillery is booming forth again. Temperature is anything over 100 degrees. Maury, Will and I are all tip-top. August the 7th, 1916. Poor old Jim Frost was shot dead. We rode up onto a slope, dismounted, and all but the horse holders had orders to advance in small rushes. To put it straight, the bullets were pinging all around us like hailstones from 2 machine guns the Turks had. We had to crawl on our stomachs for 50 yards, pushing little ridges of sand up in front of us as we went. Halfway up, I was next to Jim Frost. Our lieutenant went a few yards higher up and told 3 of us to follow. Will, myself, and another. This we did without mishap, but as poor old Jim followed, he was shot through the arm and heart. This we found out afterwards, as at the time we had to keep our heads and bodies well into the sand, and I could just see Jim under my arm. Our next push brought 3 or 4 of us to the ridge, and then waiting until there was a lull in the firing, jumped over into a little ditch previously occupied by the Turks. Here we felt fairly safe. Soon after getting there, our artillery opened fire over the hills somewhere and played havoc with the Turks. The Turks were about 500 yards from us. Suddenly a shell would burst right among them and Turkey would go in all directions, our chaps taking pot shots at them. It was considered a great win for us, but after being in action for the first time and seeing a mate killed alongside of me, it makes me wonder how such a mad and horrid state of affairs can exist. But one must not be sentimental here. The other man is out to kill you, so it is best to get him first. A word about watermelons. There are acres and acres of them here, and in this vicinity, ripe watermelons, planted no doubt by Bedouins. We have now shifted back from the front line. My poor horse has a bad back, so I came over by camel last night. Hope to get a new horse in a day or 2. Another Sabbath. What would I give to be home today? It seems unnatural to spend Sunday out on the desert. I've spent the last week on trying to pick up the signalling codes. Last night, the regiment held an impromptu concert out in the moonlight. Some classy talent was unearthed among the boys. It was very enjoyable. Yesterday, I had a great old dip in the Mediterranean at Mahemja, a better place for swimming than Cottesloe. Thursday, the 12th of October 1916. I must make a note here today, for it reminds me it is May's birthday. Today we shifted camp again, about 1 mile south. All day today I've been out to Jimmy Frost's grave, accompanied by his brother. Whilst out there we painted the cross. "20th of April 1917. Wednesday, midnight, we moved out in darkness to take up position. We dismounted and marched a considerable distance. About daylight, we were down in a hollow when the Turks, at short range, opened up on us. One shrapnel shell burst right amongst us. I looked around and saw Will wounded in the arm. I sang out to Will, "Are you hit badly?" He shouted back, "In the arm." The Turks were down in the wadi about half a mile away, and to get to it, we had to advance over open country with no cover. I have been through a fair bit of fire one way or another, but Lord save us from going through such a hell again. The shrapnel shells just formed one continual screech, and the shrapnel just fell around us like hail. How any of us got to the wadi, I don't know, but the order was to advance, so we just had to face it. I feel I will never get hit after going through it safely. I'm glad Will missed it. Men were falling all around me. I'm also glad to say Maury was not in it, being back with the horses. It will always remain a nightmare to those of us who got through. "3rd of November 1917. Still in Beersheba, having a pretty good time too, in the way of living on jacko stuff, fowl and mutton for meals and a lot of other stuff. Our horses also benefited by the captured grain. I was issued with another horse, a fine big horse. I've named him Bonnie. I was very fortunate getting him. The Turks have been stirring us up with bombs daily. These bombs are awful things. They dropped several on the first light horse transport, killing 60 horses and a number of men. A lovely bombing raid yesterday. 9 enemy planes dropped 50 bombs on us, killed 70 horses and wounded 9 men. A great lump of shell fire through one of the 6 bivvies. I'd been sitting there a minute previously. I shook hands with myself. The Christmas parcels have arrived at a most opportune time, causing great excitement. We open them just like a lot of schoolboys. Received Christmas parcels from home, including 4 from May. "5th of November 1918. Arrived in Homs, and not a bad place either. Took us 4.5 days to come here from Damascus. Off tomorrow to Tripoli. Peace with Turkey and Austria now official, so hurrah, home soon. Parcel from my little girl today, also letters. I'm feeling good-o. Monday, 11th of November 1918. Tripoli. Germany accepted Allies armistice. Got the news 5:30 p.m. Tonight is a merry one. Rockets, whistles, etc. I'm thinking of my dear ones.